If you were to make a Venn diagram of metalheads and people who grew up playing video games, you would essentially have a circle, I imagine. And while we all talk about, the great music of Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda, one thing that doesn't get brought up enough, the intro when you turn on a GameCube. I don't know if you've ever tried to learn that, but it is just so angular. It's super sick. And shout out to Toru Minegishi. I think I butchered that. Slating. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Major in Metal, where we talk about guitars, metal, and things of that nature. This week, we're going to be looking at something different, man. We're going to be doing some Alice in Chains. I'll be completely honest, I am not well versed in their catalog. I only know like 3 songs. At least 3 songs that I'm aware that I know. This one is one of my favorites. Like, of all songs ever, I think it's really cool. We're going to be looking at Them Bones. First off, it's just a hard-hitting song. Just straight chugs right out the gate, especially for like a radio song. Like, sick. But secondly, most of the song is in 7/4. If you know me, you know mixed meter is my favorite, but 7 anything is my absolute favorite time signature. It just chops off just a little bit to subvert your expectations. I do have kind of a funny story about this band. When I was 19, I was playing in this band, and we had a manager. She lived in Seattle in the 80s and 90s, grew up there presumably, and was very well versed in all the members and knew all the guys. She knew claims that she knew Kurt Cobain, Eddie Vedder, Lane Staley. She claims she knew all of them. Well, at the time, we were looking for a second guitar player. She was like, my son is a guitar player. I think he was a couple years younger than me. Like, if I was 19, he might have been like 17. If you're looking for a guitar player, I can talk to him, see if he'd be interested. And then she just says, he's actually the son of Lane Staley. If I remember correctly, our bass player was a pretty big Alice in Chains fan. And when she said that, he was like, no way, that's so crazy. So, she brings him to one of our practices, and the kid looks exactly like Jerry Cantrell. I think the way the story may have actually happened is someone had feelings for Lane Staley, but they were not reciprocated. They got with the guitar player instead, had a kid, and now that Lane isn't around to say that's not my kid, she's just running with the story that is the father. Who knows, man? But either way, we're going to jump in the DAW and we're going to make this one happen. Alright, so we're in the DAW here. As usual, I have my drums and bass made up. This is a really short song, man. I think the runtime is like 2:30. Insane for a song in the 90s. Nowadays, you can get songs that are under 2 minutes getting played on the radio. It's pretty straightforward. Songs in C# minor. I don't know why. I mean, I don't have synesthesia. The key of C# minor always reminds me of the color orange. And I think it's probably just from knowledge of this song and the album cover being orange. But for some reason, I don't know. We did something a little different this time around. Normally, I just have my own preset and I just let it go. Whatever tone comes out. I'm not trying to make the exact song. I'm just doing a quick rendition of it so I can talk about some riffs with my friends. I don't know, this time around, because the tones I have were very bright, I decided that maybe we should try to get a little more accurate. So the drum tone I didn't change, but the bass kind of has a unique tone on this one. It's I don't know for sure what the bass tone is. I didn't dig that deep, but I just ran mine into a Sans amp followed by a little bit of chorus, and this is what we got. Is that a super accurate representation of the tone? Probably not. Just when I listened to it, I heard it was kind of scooped, very dark, and a little bit of chorus in there. So that's what we tried to go for. For the guitar tone, kind of a similar deal. It's kind of scooped. I like my mids. Darker tone. Not really distorted, just some fat drive on there. I think it sounds pretty cool. Let's see, what else can I blabber on about before we start recording this? This is probably going to be a pretty short video comparatively to the other ones. Like, this song is only 2 riffs. Not 2.5, because one of them's a variation. You just have your main lick here. Then you have the verse version. Then you have your chorus. It's pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and get this, let's get some rhythm guitars recorded here. This is going to be really fast because, again, there's only like 3 riffs. Move them around and use them as needed. Just reuse the hell out of them. We're going to quad track this one just because there's going to be a lot of spots I can copy and paste things and move them over. So really, this is just me getting a bunch of the riffs early on so I don't have to keep doing them. So this song, we mentioned earlier, is in the key of C sharp minor. The guitar is tuned to drop C sharp. However, I didn't feel like doing that. This is my PSA on why you should buy a 7-string guitar. Because all I did was tune down my B string to an A. Now I can do power chords for the most of the intro. All this gotta do is grab the octave up here. I think it's pretty convenient. One thing I forgot to mention, with this riff here, if you are a metalhead like me growing up playing Metallica, your instinct is to try to downpick everything. But this is very much not downpicked. You listen to the recording, or if you listen to the isolated guitar, you can find some isolated guitars on YouTube. You can hear the alternate picking. So, true to the style, we will alternate pick it. We will go against every nature in our body. All right, so that's our intro. That's our post-chorus. That's several things in this song taken care of right there. So when it comes time, we'll copy and paste them, move them over, and build this song as we go. All right, on to the verse. Same thing as the intro, except you're letting things ring out now. That was solid. We're just gonna chop the hell out of this, and then we're gonna have our verse. You know what that means? It's montage time. All right, so now we got that made up. We can get to the chorus here. Chorus is pretty cool. Previously, we've been doing everything around C sharp minor. Not a key change, but just go to a different, just a different chord progression. We have an A to a G sharp, go up to a B, down to an A sharp, down to an A. And over that B, you get a weird lick here, because it's a kind of like a little bluesy lick. But what's interesting about it, the lick itself, it's kind of based around C, but it's over your B chord. So you get a really weird color in there because of that. You know me, whenever there's things like this, I question is like, was this intentional, or is it like, I just like the way these notes sound in here? Neither is wrong, neither is better than the other. But just the fact that you have a song in C sharp minor, you're playing over a B in the chorus, and you do a lick in the key of C, or with the key center around C. Weird choice, but it sounds really cool. So let's go ahead and get it recorded. Sick. It'd have been cool if I had nailed that, so that way I could be like, oh, one take Willie. More like a multi-take major. I think that one was bad. That one was bad. That one was bad. So 7 was good. Let's just see what that sounds like. One of you is wrong. Which one of my children are wrong here? I think it's this guy. That's all we needed. Take that boy. Split that dude. Move that dude. Throw that dude there. Fixed. Beautiful. Check it. That's just a heavy riff, man. That's such a cool riff. We have our chorus and our verse done already. All our choruses, all our verses. Then go ahead and build our solo section here. It's just this riff over and over again. When it gets to the chorus, I will have to change something a little bit in the chorus. It does change just a little bit at the very end there. It doesn't have the total stop like every other one does. It slides out just a little bit on this one. It's a little bit different. Let's record this tail that's just a little bit different, and then we are pretty much done. I mean, obviously we're going to look at the solo. Of course we're looking at the solo. But then our rhythm guitars are done. That felt really weird. I don't think I like that, but let's just see how this turned out. Sick. Couple more. We do have to change. We do have to fix one more thing at the very end here. Oop. I feel so alone. The very last note of the song kind of slides out a little bit. Kind of like a... So we got to get that recorded. Same thing. We just gonna batch this up. It's not gonna work. Yeah, if I had done what I tried to do the first time, this would have just totally fallen apart completely. It would not have worked. Now let's take a look at this solo, man. I feel so alone. You guys would be so proud of me. I made a new patch, and I actually like the way this one sounds. Normally, I don't like them, but this time I do. I can't tell you what software I'm using, or rather I won't tell you what software I'm using, but you're hearing a Soldano 100. That's the amp that's on top there. Soldano running into, I believe I'm running into a Mesa 430. No, I have a Mesa and a Mesa 412 and an Orange 412. So I know I say this a lot, and I know I say that a lot, specifically saying I know I say this a lot. If you are in between the lines of beginner and intermediate, I think this is a great solo to learn. If you've been learning guitar in a more traditional sense, you're going to know all the scales and everything you already need to know. If you learn guitar like me, where you just kind of found songs you like and you had a guy teach you those songs, you're going to recognize everything that's in this solo. It's all minor pentatonic and blues. I think there's one time where we do something different. There is an E major pentatonic lick in here. That's kind of cool. And it's not strictly E major pentatonic. It's pretty close. You get this nice kind of blues inspired lick. This whole thing is very bluesy. Jerry Cantrell is a very bluesy player. Woo, that's wet. Woo! What the hell? Woo! 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 Okay, that's what it is. Picks were just way too hot. Woo! That pinch was unintentional, but Jesus Christ, that sounded good. Man, now I gotta try to do that every time. The one thing that does make this solo a little challenging is the fact that it's in 7/4, and if you are a beginner to, intermediate, kind of on that cusp there, the timing is going to feel weird to you. The timing is not super dead in the pocket. It's a little, you kind of slide around with it. Take that information, do with it what you will. So what we just played, all we were doing was just outlining our blues, our C sharp minor blues scale. The second lick that happens, well, we haven't even got there yet. But let's just hear that first lick again. That pinch is just so killer. It's a damn shame we got to get rid of it. Moving on, our next lick here is a C sharp minor pentatonic. Again, I mean, every note you're hearing is just C sharp minor pentatonic. These next two measures are my favorite of the solo. Well, favorite of the first half of the solo. You're just walking up and down the scale. It's all scalular motion. But what's kind of cool, you start on the second degree instead of the root. So instead of being like a... then that run at the end there, that's actually an E major pentatonic. And you may think, why are we doing an E major pentatonic if we're in the key of C sharp minor? Because C sharp minor and E major are relative keys to each other. Well, that boy was in time on that one. You know, I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts the other day, and one of the guys on there said, blues is just drunk jazz. And like listening to the kind of, even my interpretation here, but just how Cantrell is kind of not right on, like everything's not super tight. It's like, yeah, just a little drunk jazz. This next lick here just outlines an E7. I don't know how long this note actually lasts. All I know is the other guitar takes over and finishes the solo. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to let this note kind of linger out, and we'll just start a new guitar track. So look at that, doubled up, double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon. Now this is my favorite lick in this solo. I just think it's so tasty and melodic. It's nothing crazy. We're just outlining a C-sharp minor pentatonic like most of the solo, followed by a C-sharp minor lick. Also, there's a little bit of auto wah applied, the same one I always use. If you listen to the solo, I believe there is a little kind of envelope filter, something in there. So it's not exaggerated. We're not we're not going Metallica with it. We're not Kirk Hammond in it, but just a little something on there. You know, as much as I keep saying like, oh, it's just C-sharp minor pentatonic, oh, it's just C-sharp blues, this is a great solo. I mean, yeah, sure, it's, just staying in the box pretty much for the whole thing, but it's very melodic, it's well written, it doesn't sound jagged in spite of being in 7/4. There was great attention to not just feel like, okay, I just need to fill these 7 beats and then I'm on to the next thing. There's a lot of mixed meter solos that feel like that. This is definitely not one of them, especially from a band that doesn't do a whole, from my understanding, again, I'm not the biggest fan, but from what I've heard, they don't do, I haven't heard much more stuff like this from them, but hey, man, let me know if I'm wrong. I might go on a cool deep dive and learn some shit. So the next lick here, it's a very bluesy kind of lick. It's like a nice little bend on there. I mean, come on, that's bluesy all day. Let's get this recorded. We gotta set a record, man. Normally, I've never done these fast. All right, last lick in the solo. Wouldn't you know it, C-sharp minor pentatonic. And it's kind of a bluesy lick, but all you're doing is hanging out there. The timing on this one can feel kind of weird. The most important thing is that you nail the very last bit of the solo there. My old college band director used to say, as long as you hit the first note and the last note, nobody cares what happens in the middle. I don't exactly subscribe to that belief, but there's merit to what he was saying. So as long as I nail the last note here, you guys won't even know. That's it, man. This is a pretty straightforward song, in spite of being in mixed meter. There is one more thing I want to do for this one, and we don't typically look at the vocals, but I really love the chorus. We're not going to sing it, but we are going to play both guitar parts here. That was one thing that was really cool about Alice in Chains, is just how much vocal harmony they used. And what's interesting is how many times they used force. They harmonized a lot in force. Kind of a different choice, or really, a fifth below, but hey, it all depends on how you look at it. Obviously, typically thirds are your go-to, and this chorus is in thirds mostly, but it's just kind of interesting, just doing a lot of force and fifths. Those are actually the 2 hardest notes for the human ear to differentiate because of, oh my God, there's a term I just learned the other day. There's a term I learned. It's like when you have 2 notes that are out of tune, how you can hear it wobble. There's a term for that, and I cannot remember what it is. It's like frequency rhythm or something like that. The point is, between your root and a perfect fourth, or a root and a perfect fifth, between a root and a perfect fourth or a root and a perfect fifth, that harmonic that frequency rhythm is pretty tight. It's not, you're not getting a lot of clash, so it's almost kind of hard for the human ear to differentiate between the 2 notes. So fun fact for the day. But let's just record this chorus just because. And And that'll take care of it for this week, man. I think after last week, after Avenged Sevenfold kicked my ass so much, I just needed something easy that I could just run through. Not to say that this isn't a great song. It's a great solo. Again, if you are someone on that bridge between beginner and intermediate, or just, you know, newly intermediate, man, this is one to look at. It's very accessible. But hey, you know, if you like these kind of videos, man, we're doing them every week. So like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. You know, tell some people who want to see something, man. Put it in the comments, and we'll make it happen. Or maybe we won't. I don't know if it's if I can't play it, we're not going to do it. But I can play a lot of stuff. Anyway, man, this is Major and Metal. I'm Major, and we'll see you next time. Peace.